Atlanta is finally exposing a rivalry that transcends social media snubs during this season of Love and Hip Hop. Fans have been speculating about the simmering animosity between these two titans for months, as the tension around Yandy Smith, Harris, and Kendra Robinson has escalated to a fever pitch. However, the sector was taken aback by Yandy's latest retort. Instead of just talking about a simple dispute over a scene, we are exploring a complex web of loyalty, legal TIs, and the unwritten hierarchy of the ATL elite. Yandy broke her silence to reveal a fact that many didn't expect, after concluding that enough was enough. This reality includes long-standing familial relationships and commercial choices that have been made in secret for many years. The mood in the room shifted when Yandy utilized her position to address the rumors. She didn't hold back, outlining the specific instances in which she thought Kendra had gone too far, as well as the specifics of their past. This is about protecting a brand that Yandy has spent decades building and maintaining, a heritage. It's not simply about who said what at the last club appearance or gallery opening. As the cameras capture every passionate dispute and sincere confession, the line between reality and television has never been more hazy. We will analyze every facet of this finding, looking at the circumstances that preceded this pivotal moment as well as the future ramifications for the Smith-Harrison-Robinson relationship. The narrative you think is true will be drastically changed, so be mindful. The tension between Yandy Smith-Harris and Kendra Robinson has undoubtedly reached a breaking point, and fans are surprised by the latest revelations from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta Season 13B. For many years, Yandy has been the undisputed queen of the franchise. She is well known for her financial acumen and her ability to effectively navigate the shark-infested music industry. However, her recent retaliation against Kendra is more than just a reality TV spat. Instead, it is a purposeful dismantling of a narrative that has been evolving for several months. Yandy's disclosure of the truth about their connection indicates that the period of silence was gone, despite what social media would have you believe. According to Yandy, the tension started with a series of professional boundary violations that Kendra chose to ignore, as well as a slow loss of respect. Didn't hold back when Yandy used her position to address the rumors. She explained the specific instances in which she felt Kendra had overreached, as well as the details of their past. This is about preserving a legacy and protecting a brand that Yandy has built over many years. A gallery opening. It's not just about who said what. Never before has the line between reality and television been so hazy as the record of a camera. Each heated conflict, Yandy emphasized that her response was a defensive step to rectify the record rather than an act of violence, despite having been presented as the antagonist in Kendra's story for months. She led the audience through a timeline of incidents that started well before the current filming cycle, emphasizing instances where professional advice was misinterpreted as interference. Yandy talked about the complexities of the Atlanta legal and social networks to which they both belong as she looked deeper into the facts. She explained that working as a woman in this industry requires a level of resilience that many people are unaware of until they are in danger. Yandy claims that a fundamental divergence in their methods of settling conflicts led to the altercation with Kendra. Yandy relies on her streetwise knowledge and long-term brand management. Kendra, on the other hand, might take a more direct, often hostile juridical stance. This philosophical disagreement caused a rift that was easily exploited by outsiders looking to add drama to boost viewing. Yandy's revelation made it clear that her issue wasn't just with Kendra. Rather, it was with the whole environment surrounding their falling out, since messy associates were using their quarrel to their advantage. The precise allegations regarding their private conversations then became the focus of the narrative. Yandy disputed the notion that she had ever disparaged Kendra in private. Rather, she claimed to have remained mute during some of Kendra's most difficult career challenges. By revealing these secret acts of kindness, Yandy was able to alter the course of events and make the audience wonder why Kendra would choose to incite conflict with someone who had stood by her. This explanation was significant because it increased the emotional impact of the situation. It wasn't just a clapback for a viral moment. It was about the hurt and betrayal experienced by someone who thought they had mutual understanding. The story naturally moved from the professional to the deeply personal, from the general disagreement to the specific truth. As Yandy began discussing how this public altercation harmed her family and her reputation in the neighborhood, regarding their friendship, Yandy stressed that it might have been a stretch to refer to them as friends in the first place. She saw their relationship as one of professional courtesy and respect for one another that had been forced into an unsuitable mold. By admitting that they were never as close as the public believed, Yandy removed the fundamental cause of the disagreement. If there wasn't a deep friendship, Kendra's feelings of betrayal were unwarranted. This realization signaled a change in focus from who did what to a more in-depth analysis of how public perception could distort private reality. Yandy clarified that she has reached a stage in her life where she no longer feels the need to perform for other people's comfort, and whether or not speaking her truth makes her the villain. In order to uphold her ethics, she is glad to accept that title. Throughout, her voice remained constant. Building on that foundation of openness, focus turned to the real dispute that made news most recently. Yandy recounted a specific incident at a well-known gathering where she believed Kendra's aura was intentionally hostile. Yandy now thinks that she was able to finally obtain the clarity she needed to speak up by opting to watch rather than react in the moment. The reality started to fall together like a puzzle after she stopped trying to force a reunion. This section of the story focused on Yandy's sense of empowerment after her narrative reclaim, according to her description. Yandy's clapback was touted as a masterwork and controlled response because she was no longer ready to let Kendra's version of events to be the only one on the record. She simply gave the audience the facts and let them decide what to do. She didn't have to scream or make a scene. The narrative continued to explore how these revelations impacted Love and Hip Hop's wider cast. Yandy noticed that the already tumultuous situation became considerably more convoluted when other cast members began taking sides. She expressed her dissatisfaction with those she thought were unbiased. However, she quickly learned that in the reality TV business, objectivity is a luxury that few people can afford. This part of the screenplay focused on the solitude that often follows being at the top of the call sheet. This season has been as much about Yandy's search for self-awareness as it has been about the chaos outside. She discussed the lessons she had learned about loyalty and the reality that not everyone who smiles at you is looking out for you. Kendra wasn't the only one who realized this. It was a broader analysis of the nature of stardom and the fragility of relationships made in front of a camera. Yandy addressed the future as this first part of the story came to an end. She made it clear that the rules of engagement had changed permanently. Even though there is still room for a true resolution, she no longer finds surface-level harmony or fictitious friendships for storyline purposes appealing. The revelation regarding Kendra was merely the beginning of a more profound shift in Yandy's outlook on both the show and her own life. She is prioritizing authenticity over attractiveness, even if it means losing people along the way. This internal shift was evident in her closing comments in this section, as she challenged Kendra to be as honest with herself as Yandy has been with the public. For the first time in seasons, Yandy feels like she is on solid ground, ready to face whatever comes next with the truth at her side and her head held high, even though there is still a lot of tension. Yandy began to examine the specific business transactions that often get lost in the whirlwind of reality TV disputes. This discovery simply intensified the impetus. She revealed that it is nearly impossible to distinguish between business and pleasure in Atlanta, since they are so intertwined. And it was precisely at this point when Kendra's wires were crossed. Yandy mentioned a specific initiative to a community organization that aims to empower young women, in which she believed Kendra's legal involvement began to seem more like an attempt to seize control than to offer assistance. Many followers failed to recognize this reality. The struggle for dominance over who will represent giving back. The annoyance of seeing a passion endeavor transformed into a social climbing pond drove Yandy's clapback. She made it clear that her brand preservation isn't motivated by her ego. Instead, it's a consequence of the numerous hours she worked and the personal sacrifices she made to get to where she is now. When Yandy discusses her connection with Kendra, she makes it clear that it was always filtered through the lenses of their shared social groups and partners. She said that although the men in their lives sometimes got along better than the women, they were both uncomfortable with the forced familiarity. This aspect of the discovery gave the story a new level of complexity. The pressure women faced to get along just because their husbands or boyfriends or associates was reflected in it. Not very Kendra versus Yandy. By deciding to reveal this fact, Yandy defied these expectations. She wanted everyone to understand that she is a distinct individual with her own opinions and that she doesn't owe anyone friendship just because it appears nice on a seating chart at a gala or industry event. Social media became the battlefield as the struggle moved to the digital aftermath. Yandy discussed how people looked for hidden meanings in every like and comment. She admitted that there were times when she wanted to reply to the trolls, but she came to the conclusion that her actual power lay in being silent until the appropriate time. Her clapback was precisely timed to coincide with the airing of significant episodes in order to maximize the impact of her side of the tale. This deliberate move reveals Yandy's seasoned intelligence. Instead of just participating in the play, she constructs her own universe. By telling Kendra the truth about her relationship, she was able to put an end to the rumors before they could further damage her reputation at work or her personal peace. Taking a broader view, Yandy also concentrated on the societal norms surrounding women in positions of prominence. She discussed the angry cliché and how, despite feeling overburdened, she has consistently struggled to keep her cool and act professionally. This balance was tested when she revealed Kendra. She was able to be firm and uncompromising without sacrificing the grace that her admirers found charming. This part of the narrative struck a deep chord with those who had followed her journey from the start. They have witnessed her transformation from a manager to a mogul, and this particular incident is simply one more testament to her tenacity. In a field that often feeds on artificial tension and instability, she revealed more than simply a disagreement. It was a manifesto for respectful dispute resolution. The narrative continued to explore how these consequences impacted their common connections. Yandy revealed that some people tried to keep the peace, but their actions only made matters worse because they weren't working with all the information. She explained that Kendra had been providing these intermediaries with an entirely different version of their past, portraying herself as the victim of Yandy's cruel tactics. It was necessary to rectify that story. That's exactly what Yandy's clapback did. She provided both real and symbolic receipts to show that she had been more than fair in her dealings with Kendra. By pointing out the inconsistencies in Kendra's story, Yandy shifted the focus from her alleged conduct to her lack of transparency. The shortcomings in Kendra's portrayal became apparent to the audience. Yandy discussed how the production of Season 13B was impacted at this juncture, when the power dynamic truly shifted as the battle intensified. She admitted that there were days when the atmosphere was so toxic that she didn't even want to go to set. But she felt forced to fulfill her contract and her admirers rather than take part in the artificial moments that are so common. She employed the camera as a tool for honesty in reality TV. She was expressive when she was upset. When she felt hurt, she expressed it. Kay's truth was compelling because of her unvarnished honesty. It wasn't a well-written public relations statement. Rather, it was a woman wielding her power and refusing to be silenced. She stressed that compared to the edited version on film, their relationships and real life, which included tense text conversations and late-night phone calls that were never included in the final cut, were far more difficult. The subject of loyalty in the Atlanta scene then emerged. In a situation when everyone is looking for their next big opportunity, Yandy questioned what loyalty actually meant. She hinted that Yandy's capacity to further her career at any given time would determine Kendra's loyalty. The moment Yandy stopped providing that platform, the friendship ended. Yandy sought to expose this harsh reality of the field. She wanted to warn others about the dangers of forming connections based more on necessity than on genuine connection. Her revelation served as a caution to anyone thinking about a career in reality TV, showing that the most important relationship you can have is with your own integrity. As the second section draws to a close, the unresolved energy between the two ladies remains the primary emphasis. Given the scope of her disclosure, Yandy has made her point and there isn't much room for additional explanations. The suspense is palpable as the industry watches to see if Kendra would respond with her own set of facts or choose to let the issue rest in the face of such overwhelming evidence. Regardless of the outcome, Yandy has said that she would move forward with a new sense of purpose. She has taken off the courteous masks and pretense, leaving simply the unadulterated reality of the issue. The terms of the argument have drastically changed as a result of Yandy's willingness to go there and expose the unsettling reality of, wow, what it's like to be at the top. The final chapters of this evolving tale, as the tale of Yandy and Kendra approaches its culmination, examine how Yandy's public position affected hip-hop and love in the short following. Now that we know the truth, Atlanta Season 13B, the rest of the cast has to deal with the tight dynamics at group events, which have turned into a Cold War environment. Yandy mentioned that the silence between her and Kendra was louder than any shouting match could be at one specific point, which hasn't even been revealed in its fullity yet. During that heavy, suffocating silence, Yandy realized the true meaning of what she had said. She didn't only put an end to a rumor by finally clapping back. In essence, she drew a boundary in the sand that is impenetrable. The finality of her revelation is examined in this section of the script, showing that once the truth has burnt the bridge, there is no going back. Additionally, Yandy used this opportunity to address her massive fan base personally and recognize the unique connection she has with them. She acknowledged that many people feel a personal connection to her after witnessing her life transform over the course of more than 10 years. But she reminded everyone that what they see on video is only a small fraction of her reality. The reality of her relationship with Kendra was a crucial reminder that even in the world of reality TV, there are private conversations and depths that the cameras simply cannot capture. She emphasized how crucial it is to maintain one's privacy when living in the public eye, and how this specific argument appeared to be a boundary violation. Instead of letting a production crew or a social media algorithm define who she is as a person, she had battled so hard. By revealing the details of their past, she was regaining her right to write her own story. As the season approaches its inevitable end, focus shifts to the lessons Yandy has taken away from the entire experience. She thought about the nature of clapping back and how her approach has evolved since she started working in the industry. In the past, a response might have been a quick rash shot, but today it is a full, deliberate dismantling of a false narrative. She was quite clear that her goal was not to win the debate or disparage Kendra, but to ensure that the objective truth was documented for the record. Yandy sees this as more than just a TV program. It concerns her legacy. She wants her children to view these tapes and see a mother who stood up for herself, maintained her moral values, and wouldn't let anyone ruin the reputation she had fought so hard to build. The incident also led to a period of reflection over Yandy's circle of safety. She revealed that this conflict acted as a filter, showing her who among her classmates was truly committed and who was just trying to gain power. Yandy further constricted her inner group. She was relieved to know exactly where everyone stood after learning about Kendra, despite the fact that it came at the expense of a long-standing association. This part of the play highlights how emotional growth is facilitated by conflict. Instead of being destroyed by the drama, Yandy has used it as a tool for development, getting rid of the superficial acquaintances to make room for more sincere, in-depth connections that aren't dependent on a story. In a devastating turn, Yandy talked on how this drama affected the younger viewers of the program. She discussed the responsibility of leading by example and her desire to demonstrate that you can defend yourself without sacrificing your dignity. Her revelation was full of facts and perspective rather than insults or cheap punches. She believes that what makes her special is this distinction. When it would be much easier to just follow the stage scenario, she asked the audience to look past the clapback and acknowledge the bravery needed to reveal your truth. This empowerment message became the central theme of the last section, turning a reality TV argument into a larger conversation about respect for oneself and the power of one's own voice. The image of Yandy Smith Harris in the Season 13B final credits role is one of complete self-assurance. She has addressed the inconsistencies, voiced her complaints, and put cards on the table for everyone to see. Yandy seems to be genuinely happy that her relationship with Kendra is irreversibly damaged.